The night I finally understood the man I married, I was in a motel parking lot at 2 in the morning, counting quarters from the cup holder to see if I had gas enough to get home. On the seat beside me was one sheet of paper from a bank we had never used with his name on it, and a balance he would soon swear under oath did not exist. 19 years I gave that man. A week before, he had slid a different sheet across a lawyer's table, telling me my half of her whole life came to $4,000 in the older car. He smiled when I read it. Let me tell you how a woman ends up counting quarters in the dark while her husband picks paint for a lake house, and what it cost him in the end. If you have ever trusted someone so completely that checking on them felt like an insult, you already know the mistake I made. My dad ran a two-bay auto shop for 31 years and kept every receipt that ever passed through his hands. Shoe boxes of them. Banded by year, stacked in the hall closet until the door barely shut. Keep the paper, he told me, because people lie and paper does not. When he died, the shop and the life insurance came to $180,000. I put every cent of it into my husband's business. Dean sat at my kitchen table with my father barely in the ground and promised to turn my dad's money into something that would take care of me for life. I had been a bookkeeper before our daughter came. Good with the ledger, careful with the column, but you do not keep a ledger on your own husband. That was the rule I lived by, and it was the rule he used to gut me. When I asked where the money went, he gave me the same answer. He always did. It is handled. For 19 years, I ran the parts of his life that never show on a balance sheet, the payroll, the coffee out to his crews, the nights I told him we would be fine. We had Ellie late, and she was the whole reason for the quiet. I told myself a family is a thing you build with your hands open. I still believe that. I just know now what it costs when the other person does not. The business had not almost gone under. The way he always said it had been making real money for years. A statement came to the house one Tuesday from a bank called Harbor One, addressed to Dean. Inside was a checking account in his name opened 6 years earlier, holding $380,000. Dean came in behind me and did not get angry, and that should have warned me. He slid the paper out of my fingers, folded it, and called it an old escrow account, just numbers the accountant moved for taxes. He said the word taxes the way some men say it to women. They have decided cannot count, and I could count. But he kissed the top of my head and told me not to worry my pretty head, and I let him fold it away, because the only other choice was believing my husband had hidden $350,000 from me. I chose him over the paper. My father would have kept the paper. 4 months later, he had me served at his office. Our daughter's school photo still framed on the desk behind him. He had already seen a lawyer, already moved money, already picked out paint with a woman named Rue. Nay, for a lake house I had never heard of. He was not just leaving me. He had been leaving for 6 years, one deposit at a time. And I was the last to know about my own marriage. The house and the business were his because his name was on all of it, and my father's money had gone in without one line of ink to say it was mine. Trust does not hold up in the hallway outside a courtroom. He changed the locks on a Wednesday. I came back from the store and my key turned in empty air, and my whole life sat on the porch in his black contractor bags. Started to rain before I got them all into the car, and my wedding dress went dark at the shoulders. The joint account was empty by Friday. I stood at the grocery register with Ellie's cereal and a gallon of milk, and the card came back declined. I put the milk back myself so the cashier would not have to. In a small town, money talks first and loudest, and Dean had the barbecues and the sponsorships, so Dean kept the story. Inside a month, I was the bitter wife who let herself go and tried to take a good man for everything. My lawyer believed me as long as my retainer lasted, then withdrew in a kind letter, and for 2 weeks I had no house, no money, and no lawyer. And then there was Ellie. She was 16, and she wanted her bedroom, her school, the horse his money paid to board on Saturdays. He let her keep all of it on the one condition, underneath everything he did, that she understand who had wrecked the family. She stopped answering my texts by the 3rd week. I drove past the house one night just to see her lit window, and a patrol car slowed beside me, because a woman parked outside a home that used to be hers is a thing the neighbors called the police about. So that is how I ended up in a motel parking lot at 2 in the morning, 3 weeks out from being nobody's wife. And for now, nobody's mother. I am not going to dress it up. There is a kind of tired where you do the math on the gas in the tank and the long, dark road out of town, very calm about it. And I did that math more than one night that month. What stopped me was the one sheet of paper on the seat and my father's voice under it, plain as a wrench set down in a drawer. Keep the paper because people lie and paper does not. I had one sheet from Harbor One. With a balance, he had looked me in the eye and called nothing. A man does not hide $380,000 from his wife and throw her out with $4,000, unless that money is the truest thing about him. It was never about the lake house or the woman. It was 6 years of proof that he had been walking out the door the whole time he was holding my hand. So I stopped being the woman who put the milk back, and I dug my father's rule up out of the ground, and I went to work. I found a different kind of lawyer, a woman named Diane, who went very still when I said the words hidden account. She explained the thing Dean was counting on me never learning. The day you file for divorce, the law freezes you both in place. Neither of you may hide $1, and both of you must sign a sworn statement under penalty of perjury, listing every account you own. Dean was going to put his name on a piece of paper in front of a judge, swearing. He had told me about all of it, and I was going to let him, so I played the part he had written for me. To Diane, I told him I was tired, that I had no money left to fight, that I only wanted it over. A man like Dean cannot say no to a win that comes easy. He relaxed. He got sloppy. 6 weeks later, his lawyer served his sworn statement, his signature at the bottom in black ink, the business barely scraping by, the joint checking, the savings, the truck, and not one line about a bank named Harbor One. He had just sworn to a judge that the $380,000 did not exist. I read his signature, and for the first time in months, I heard my father laugh. Lie you sign your name to only has to meet one piece of paper that disagrees with it. Diane sent a subpoena straight to Harbor One. We did not ask Dean because the bank had no reason to lie for him. When his lawyer realized what we were doing, Dean doubled down and swore in a second document that whatever we had found was old and closed and empty. Then Harbor One sent back the records. The account was not closed. It was 6 years old and wide open, holding $381,000. Fed every quarter by transfers out of the business he swore was barely surviving. Paper, meat paper. Deanne brought in a forensic accountant, a patient man who read bank records the way my father read an engine. He followed the money back 6 years, and in the very first deposits he found it. $180,000. Moved out of the business the same 3 months my father's money went in. Dean had taken the money my father died to leave me, run it through the business to wipe off the fingerprints, and parked it where my name would never touch it. He had buried my father twice, and the accountant found one more thing. 4 days after he had me served, after the law had frozen every dollar, Dean had moved $60,000 out of the Harbor One account into a brand new one. He had panicked and tried to dig the money one hole deeper. On the exact days the law said he could not touch a cent. The move he made to hide it was the proof he had always known it was there. I was holding a bomb, and Dean was still telling the town he was about to be rid of me for the price of a used car, and he overreached. The way that kind of man always does. Sure, he had won. He refused to give me $1 over his $4,000, and moved to take the house free and clear and pay Ellie's mother nothing. He wanted it settled in open court, because Dean loved an audience and had never lost in front of one. He brought his mother, who had told the neighborhood I was unstable. He brought Rue, nay, in a new coat, to watch him win. The night before the hearing, someone put a shoulder into my motel room door while I was down the hall at the ice machine. I came back to the door hanging open, the folder gone, my laptop gone, every copy I had carried for months gone, and the time it takes to fill a bucket with ice. But I had done the most useful thing my father ever taught me, and kept the paper where no one could reach it in one grab. Everything that mattered was already filed with the court and subpoenaed straight from the bank behind a locked clerk's door and in Deanne's cabinet across town. What got stolen from that motel room was a copy, and the motel had a camera over the ice machine running the whole time. Dean had just broken into a room 4 days before his hearing to steal a dead man's paper trail, and he had done it on film. He walked into that courtroom like a man arriving at his own party. His lawyer told the judge the simple version: a hard-working man, a business he built with his own 2 hands, a wife who wanted half of what she never earned. He read the sworn statement out loud, the business barely surviving, every account disclosed, nothing hidden. Then it was Diane's turn. She asked him almost kindly if that was his signature at the bottom of the statement. He said yes. She asked if he had listed every account he owned as the law required under penalty of perjury. He looked at me and he must have seen the woman who put the milk back, because he said yes again. Diane laid the first paper down, his statement, his signature, no harbor one anywhere. Then the bank's own records beside it. An account 6 years old, $381,000, open the entire time. The room went very quiet. Then the transfer, $60,000, moved 4 days after he had me served. On the day, the law froze every account he had. Then the accountant tracing the first deposits back to my father's $180,000. And last, a still frame off the motel camera, Dean's own face lit over an ice machine the night before. Every lie he had signed his name to met a piece of paper that called him a liar. Dean stood up and said it was fake, a setup. But he had already sworn out loud that the statement was true and complete. He could not take it back without admitting he had lied to a judge under oath. And he could not keep denying it with the bank's own paper on the table. There was no third door out of that room, and he had walked into it on his own 2 feet. His lawyer stopped writing. His mother stopped looking at me and started looking at him. Rue. Nay looked down at the coat in her lap. And Dean, who had never lost in front of an audience, lost everything in front of the only people he had ever wanted to impress. The judge did not raise her voice. She did the thing the law lets a judge do when a man hides money from his wife and lies about it under oath. She did not give me half of that account. She gave me all of it, every dollar of the $381,000. Because a man who conceals it can forfeit his whole share. The account he built to leave me with nothing was the account that handed me everything. She ordered him to pay my legal fees and referred the matter to the district attorney for perjury. The paper he signed to bury me became the paper the state would use to charge him. The rest came apart, the way it does once the first beam gives. Dean had been about to sign a partner to expand the business, the move he had bragged about all year. No one signs with a man under referral for perjury, and the partner was gone in a week. The business he swore he built alone now carried his name in a way he could never scrub off. The lake house never got its paint. Bought a small place at the edge of town, with a room that catches the morning light, and I put up a shelf in the hall. On it sit my father's shoeboxes, and beside them a new box, my own. For the papers of a life I keep track of myself now. My things do not live in contractor bags anymore. Ellie came back slowly. She read the whole court file herself, every page, because she is 16 and takes no one's word for anything now, and it cost me a year of her. She stays over on Saturdays in the room with the morning light. But there is a carefulness in her that was not there before. The way you walk careful on ice you've already gone through once. That is the part the money did not fix. I used to think loving a man meant never asking to see the books. I know now that a marriage is a set of books too, and the person who will not let you look is telling you everything you need to know. That second bank account was never really about the money. It was 6 years of proof that he had already gone, sitting in an account he told me not to worry my pretty little head about. So let me ask you what my father answered with a closet full of shoeboxes. If an envelope ever comes to your house with a number on it that cannot be true, and the person you love laughs and swears it is nothing, do you kiss them and let it go? Do you keep the paper? I kissed him and let it go for 4 months, and it nearly cost me my life. Then I became my father's daughter again, and it cost him his instead. If a story told plain like this is what you came for, stay a while, because I have more of them. And the next one ends with a will read out loud to a room that never saw it coming.